Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Julie's Orchids. So we're doing an orchid haul today, which is the results of what I came back with from the Victorian Orchid Spectacular. As you can see, we've got quite a bit to look at, so let's go have a look and see what we got. So first of all, we'll start off with this dendrobium. This is the species Dendrobium linwanianum. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. I'll put the correct spelling of that in here. This is, I didn't pay for this one. This was a keiki off of a plant that Sharon at Rare Roots of Joy purchased, and it had a couple keikis, and she very nicely let me have this one. So I'll be potting this one up. It was very nice to see that this keiki does have green growing root tips, so it'll be a perfect time to get it into my preferred setup. The keiki does have some buds on it. I'm not expecting those are going to make it. I'm expecting that they're going to blast, and that's fine. You know, it's been ripped off the mother plant and then will have been repotted, so it will have been a bit stressed, and that's perfectly understandable for a plant to have bud blast. So that's the first one that I got, and that was a freebie. Now, some of these are going to be a mix of replacement ones that I've had in the past, and some are not. This first one here is a replacement. So this is a little Paphiopedilum delenatii, and this is the standard variety, not the albiform. But again, I do love the delenatii because of the beautiful variegation of the leaves. And paths do really great in self-watering and pumice, so eventually when I get some pumice in, because I don't have any of that yet. I've got plenty of pots for everybody, but no substrate to put them in. So our first replacement is Paph delenatii. Our next replacement is this little tiny Paph spicerianum. You know, my Paph spicerianum I had back in Perth was a state champion Paphiopedilum, and this one will be several years before it's blooming, but it was very nice to find a spicerianum, so I grabbed this one up. We'll move on to another plant that I had. It's not a Paph, but I had back in Perth, and it's an angraecum, and this is Angraecum elephantinum. Again, most of the plants that I got are seedlings, and that's okay. I realize orchid growing is a long haul sort of thing. So again, this is probably going to be several years before it blooms, but it's nice to have a replacement for one that I had beforehand. And another replacement plant that I had is Angraecum dideri. And yes, again, this one is not a blooming size plant. It's a seedling, whereas the one I had back in Perth was a blooming size plant. And that one was named Nina. So this one is Nina 2.0 in honor of a good friend of mine, Nina over at Ninja Orchids. I've learned a lot about growing orchids from her channel, so I highly suggest you give her channel a check out. Again, so this is a replacement from one that I had in Perth that I could not bring with me due to biosecurity hazard laws and things. Okay, so we're going to kind of move things around from here so I can bring out another plant that's two plants that is a replacement of mine. It's a long story, but I need to move these out of the way, so we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So these are both Angraecum eburneum. I found this one for sale at the Victorian Orchid Spectacular. And then after the Spectacular, we went to, I forget the name of the place. We had lunch, and it was sort of there was rock crystals, orchids, other plants, a lot of aroids. I think they're more known for the aroids. But they had this back there. So I bought this thinking I was a happy camper. This was about the same size as the Angraecum eburneum that we had back in Perth. And I thought, yeah, we'll get that because I was anxious to see what it looked like. And when I was at that other place, this one, you know, in flower, and it smells so nice. And I thought, oh, that looks familiar, but I looked at the tag on it, and the tag said Angraecum bruneum. So I've looked this up and I've done a Google search, and nowhere can I find an Angraecum bruneum. I am finding E. bruneum, which is spelled the exact same way, but with an E on the front. So I believe I've got two of the exact same plant, only the one is obviously flowering size. So, I'm not going to complain about that. Have a smaller backup for this larger one here, and I'll get to enjoy the blooms a lot sooner. And now we're going to head back to the Paphiopedilums, specifically the species Paphiopedilums. The rest of these, until I mention differently, will be species. So our first species is Paphiopedilum wardii, and this is the Alba variety. And again, all of these ones that I've gotten are seedlings, so we're in this for the long haul. And our next path is Paph malampoensis. Again, got beautiful variegation to the leaves. You can see that is what the plant should look like, and really happy for that one. I was able to find a Paph delenatii alba variety, which I did have one back in Perth, but I killed it. It was a much smaller seedling than this one. So now I've got the delenatii alba and regular form. And this one just took a tumble. This one just fell over from the little tray it was in. So we'll just drop that back in there. Like I said, I don't have any substrate to repot these in, so these kind of just have to stick around in these things until they get, I get the delivery of the pumice in. From the feel of this media, it's pretty dry. They're going to need a watering. But this one here is Paph venustum, variety Mesurianium. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. And it has some more subtle variegation to the leaves, but still really pretty variegation on the leaves. And I'm going to take a minute and try to tidy a little bit more of that up. Be right back. So these two are our last species, Paphiopedilums. This is Paph leucochilum. Got a new leaf coming up. Again, really tiny little thing, but a species nonetheless. And that's what I'm hoping to do with this collection, is really concentrated on species and some other very specific plants. This one was a bit costly for what it is, as you can see for that. This is Paph striatum, and it will look like that. And here in Australia, this one is hard to come by, which is why it has that price tag. Yeah, this one hurt a bit, but a nice little species. Now, the next two seedlings are, this one here is a primary hybrid of Paph callosum and Paph godfreyae. Now I had Paph godfreyae back in Perth. It was a seedling that was much smaller than this one. The seedling had just been deflasked by another orchid member at Orchid Society of WA. But this one is a bit further along. Again, it's going to be years before it blooms. But for $25, pretty variegation, primary hybrid. I couldn't turn it down, so I got that one. And then this one, this one I don't remember picking out. I think I got it because it's the alba form. Oh, Henrianum. Yeah, it's also a species. I don't know why I was thinking that this was a primary hybrid. No, it's Paph Henrianum times Sib. So it is a species. And I got this one, and that's what it looks like. And these little trays are not very stable, so I have another mess to clean up. Now, this Paphiopedilum here set us back a pretty penny. The guy showed me the picture of the flower, and it's really quite lovely. It's one of the big fat Paphiopedilums, not the skinny, twisty ones. Yes, it was $450. It is an awarded plant. This is Path Philip Hughes, number 63, and it has an HCCOSCOV. That's what I'm reading right there. At any rate, the flower was intriguing enough, and it's got highly awarded. So I spent a little bit on this one, and it's a single family. We've got nice new growth coming, so I'm quite happy with that. And then we'll get to the real expensive one. And introductions to Paphiopedilum St. Swithins. This is the Queenslander AMS AOS. This one is beautiful. Absolutely stunning. This is a primary hybrid. It is a hybrid between, let me look this up again, Path Rothschildianum and Path philippinensis. It's absolutely stunningly beautiful. In Australia here, it's a very difficult plant to come by, so these cost a dear penny. And I almost don't want to say what I paid for this one. This was $600 for a single fan, but in my opinion, quite worth it. And it's beautiful. It's a multiflora. It looks like it's obviously a division. But I've seen pictures of these with five or so flowers on one spike. So I'm really super chuffed with that one. And we'll get everything set up so we can say our goodbyes. So I think we're just going to zoom in on this beautiful Paphiopedilum St. Swithin. I thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. A subscribe would be appreciated. And if you really enjoyed the video, maybe give it a share. Thanks again for watching, and have a lovely day.